You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 3rd show. You can also listen to our podcast, Facebook premiere show, or on our show YouTube channel. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. We are here to help you in today's economy. And now in studio, we have Michael Green of Green & Company Realty, Windermere, Ballard, red hot Seattle real estate market, right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hey, how are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump right into this red hot Seattle market. Yes, indeed. So how do you advise your customers to sell a home?
All right. So first, when a client comes to me and they want to put their house on the market, we have to look at the home itself. And sometimes it can be really tough, right? Because this is where you live. This is my space, but it may not be the space for the market, right? So bringing your home to market, we need to look at your home. Maybe it needs a fresh coat of paint. Maybe we need to declutter. Maybe we need to do a little staging, just so it fits in, competitively with today's market. So I had this conversation with my clients, maybe a glass of wine, maybe a cup of coffee. It's a very relaxed environment, but the ultimate goal is to get the most money for your property.
Well, I would definitely take you up on the glass of wine, not the cup of coffee. Just saying. So, Michael, what about what was that?
I said most of my clients do.
Yes. Michael, so we've what about buyers? What's important for buyers to know in this, for me, over a quarter of a century in the mortgage industry, never seen before like it is right now?
Reality. I'll start with that word, okay? Reality is most single family homes in Seattle, in the King County area, are going for 20% over asking. Do not look at $1 million home if that's your budget, okay? We use the data. What I like to do is I like to use the data that's proprietary Windermere technology to get the most information for my clients so that they are attacking the market with all the information they need, right? So, I mean, if you're looking at, if your max is $1 million, we gotta knock off 20% off that, and that's where we start looking, especially if you're in the single family home market. New construction, completely different, not as competitive. Condo market, have at it. You can get it for ask, or I could probably get 5% off for you.
Yeah. Wow. And that's why working with an expert like Michael to really navigate and know exactly what's going on. And Windermere is amazing. And, the company that real estate agent hangs their license is definitely important. And you have over at Windermere one of the best economists, Matthew Gardner. So you have all of the inside information that, having Matthew at your fingertips, where some of us just have to wait to hear from Matthew for whenever he puts something out there. So, yeah.
And I love how
he's just like a text away from me. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's as good as they get. I love how you said you basically set expectations there. And if you Google me or Tina, you'll see a lot of 5-star reviews. It's all about expectations and painting an accurate picture for people. Because if they think they're getting into one thing and then a whole different other scenario, that's going to be the expectation you set for them, and you're not going to get a good review, and you're not going to have a happy customer. So that's brilliant, Michael. Well said. What's the specific strategy? Is there a specific strategy or the best strategy you would say for a buyer in this Seattle market?
Well, again, if you're looking at a single family home market, be prepared to go 20% or more above asking. And if you're not, step away, look at something that's more in your price range, because you're just going to get hurt. I mean, it's just a reality. I just, in our office, we had 2 homes, boom, one in Finney Ridge, another in Magnolia, which is where I live. They're gorgeous homes, both 20% plus over ask. And so, if you're looking for a single family home that has a backyard, front yard, driveway, garage, let's look at stuff that's 20% below your max budget. Okay. Or let's step into the new construction market. There are gorgeous new construction homes out there. And these developers are pouring in $50,000 to $100,000 worth of amenities into these homes. We're talking top of the line refrigerators, stoves, kitchens, bathrooms. I mean, they are spectacular.
So, Michael, how would you describe our red hot Seattle housing market, and where do you see it going?
So yeah, I originally from New York. So I've been in Seattle for about 11 months now. And in New York, just before the pandemic, I started seeing like how the market was just like boom, going bonkers because everybody was leaving the city. I happen to be in a town called Chappaqua, which is a small little town in Westchester, about 50 minutes away from the city, from Grand Central Station. I saw it there. When I got here, when I bought my home here, I just couldn't believe it. Literally, I waived everything, okay? And then I had to allow the people that I bought the home from to rent back just because they didn't have a place to go. So in New York, it's totally different, right? Like you can wheel and deal. It's still a super hot market, but it's just managed differently the way the brokers work with each other. Here in Seattle, the market's only getting hotter. I mean, is there a way to make more land? That's what I tell my buyers. Is there a way to make more land? And if you know, let's do it. I'm putting all my eggs in that basket and we are going to hit home runs. So as a buyer, just try to be real with yourself, with your finances. The best thing you can do is get in the market at any price point because we are seeing double-digit returns. My home, I look at my value from 11 months ago, I'm like, sweet. I'm glad I got in at what I did, even though I had to pay what I had to pay. Get in it.
Yeah, great advice. And the getting into the market, and just, and the other thing too is the interest rates are so low right now and they're not going to stay around. And if you're asking yourself, well, where's the real estate market going to go? It always follows employment. If far back as you look at real estate follows employment. And so just ask yourself, how's employment in Seattle? It's pretty darn good, and nothing's going to be changing there in any near future for sure.
Yeah. Rates
And
are
the fact we have, oh, go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
No, I was just going to piggyback on what Tina was saying about mortgage rates. They are amazing. However, inflation is here, and are they going to stay this low? That's another thing you have to ask yourself. Right, exactly.
Yeah, rates are going to definitely go up, and there's no such thing as a bubble right now. A bubble happens when we have too much inventory. We have a third of the inventory when there's a bubble, and much more people that are looking. The demand is extremely higher. There's going to be no housing bubble at all, people. It might slow down a little bit, and it's going to pick back up. So call Michael or call me and Tina, because the next question I wanted to ask you, I might know something about this. How do customers obtain financing?
Great. I mean, you obviously can talk to you guys 100%. I mean, you guys can pre-approve them. But I always advise my clients, even though Windermere has an in-house lender, I always advise my clients to shop around because that's the only way you're going to learn the process. And it's a journey, right? When you're going into buying your home and, looking for homeowners insurance, trying to find an electrician. I'll give 3 recommendations on those lines. Let them, you need to learn and you need to feel comfortable with the choices you're making because they are long-term choices and you don't want you want to make those choices yourself.
Yeah, great advice. Making sure, and what you're shopping for is you're shopping for the person, the relationship you have with your mortgage professional. Don't get caught up in shopping rate unless you're shopping at the exact same time, because mortgage rates can move multiple times. And if you want something discounted, just know you're going to get a discounted service as well. You want to go with a lender that has comparable interest rates and it's going to provide a high level of service. So your $50,000 earnest money is not at risk. So when I introduced you, I shared a little bit about how you got into the real estate business. Can you share a little bit more?
Yeah. So I'm like a 20-year advertising creative executive who happened to be blessed with 2 awesome kids and lovely wife. We were in Brooklyn at the time, then we moved to Westchester. And at that point, since I work late hours in advertising and my wife works in fashion, we decided that I had the most flexible schedule. So I started freelancing. Freelancing led to kind of just hanging out with the kids. And then hanging out with the kids kind of created this huge network for me in this awesome community. And my wife was like, well, if you're hanging out, maybe you should think about selling some real estate. And I was like, I love houses. That's awesome. And I had this, creative mind, and I can put things together for people, and I can envision stuff. And then boom, I, did the class, passed first time, and immediately sold $4 million worth of homes in the first 4 months of my time in New York. And I mean, I was just like, boom, this is for me. I love it. I'm outdoors. I get to spend time with my kids who are both active athletically. And then, I can take care of the home and, help out my wife who has the corporate gig. It was just like a perfect thing for us to do. So.
I love how sometimes when you step away from life and let it happen for you, you end up in that perfect place where you're always meant to be. That seems like a very organic story that took you to exactly what Michael Green was supposed to be doing in his life at this point, which is so cool.
Thank you.
What's your take on staging a home? Obviously, you talked about a creative mind and the vision. So give us some feedback on the staging piece.
Well, I think a lot of it's like, what's really hot in the market right now, what really works with the home, right? Not every home is the same, right? Some homes can carry off that farm to table kind of chic look, black and white. Some other homes are a little bit more classic looking, and then there are condos that, have their own sort of vibe to it, and it's really about like looking at what's on the market, because I'm looking at homes every day, like at least 10, 20 homes a day, and seeing what's working. And, then I try to apply those techniques to the unique situation of the home that I'm staging or trying to sell.
That is great, Michael. We've got to wrap up the show now, but it was such a pleasure to have you in our virtual studio, get to know more about you, and have you share your expertise with our listeners. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for having me anytime.